You're so giggly right now. I guess.
I don't know where this is supposed to go at all. Like
nervous laughter.
Something like that. Where is my wine opener? Oh man.
Are you sure you haven't already been drinking?
No, I promise. I promise you. This is gonna be great for the introduction.
Bloopers. Bloopers reel.
Hey everybody, I'm Sydney. Welcome to my channel. If you have not already, make sure that you like this video and subscribe. Hit that notification bell because I got some great content coming your way. So just sit back, relax, and don't be scared of all the things that might happen in this video.
That was pretty good.
I think so.
Did you just do the intro?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. We're done.
That's it. We're done.
You need to go home. That's it. Today I have two special guests for you on the channel today. One is very sweet, very kind, you know, is very smooth. And the other one I guess is cool too, you know. He's a boy. Say hi to the camera, Cody.
Hi to the camera, Cody. Oh wait, I'm supposed to just say hi.
Anyway, so I have wine today because I have a very special topic to tell you guys about today. As you all know, I'm a software engineer in tech, but how did I acquire such a fun and heartbreaking and painful and suffocating and one of the most amazing and lucrative jobs on the planet? Well, that's what we're gonna talk about today, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Cody went to school to get a computer science degree and successfully graduated, and now he is also working in the tech industry, isn't that right?
That's correct.
Yes, but while he decided to go and get a computer science degree, I did not. And in fact, I didn't go to school for any type of technology at all. Wanna know the story? Let's drink. Let's start getting this.
Nice. What's happening?
Please don't break cork. Please don't break cork. Please don't break cork.
Pop, pop, pop.
I'm gonna struggle for this. Oh my god. The cork broke. Round two. This is gonna be interesting, guys. Cheers.
So, you did not go to school for computer science or for tech. So did you have any expectation, I'm guessing not, but did you have any expectation, like, let's say in high school, of ever being in the tech industry, and it was a complete surprise that you decided to take this direction?
Yeah, no, I wanted to be a doctor, man. I wanted to be a doctor, and you know what? I didn't even do that. So I went to college. That was August of 2011, and I thought, oh, I'm going to be a doctor and potentially a forensic anthropologist, like in Bones. You guys remember that show? I thought that was cute. So
those are the bones we're talking about.
So I went to school actually for chemistry. I thought that if I had a chemistry major, then I would be able to get my degree and then think about going to medical school. And then something happened. I thought that I saw my grandmother's body in the morgue. That was actually my first lab that I had in biology. Anatomy, maybe? Whichever one. We decided to go to the anatomy lab or the morgue or wherever they decide to cut up the cadavers. And I saw a cadaver that had a birthmark in the exact shape that my grandmother had it. And then the professor, or whoever it was, maybe it was an intern, he took out a sample of a brain in the jar, and turns out it was the cadavers. And I thought that I was going to die for a second. I decided that maybe this was not the path for me. Drink! Now that we are out of the chemistry degree, I decided instead, hey, I've been in this college for 2 years. I've been in the arts and sciences department. If I try and transfer to any other type of department, I swear to God, I'm going to have to do all of my credits all over again. I'll be here an extra 2 years. and I'll be miserable. I decided that I loved writing, I loved reading, I liked editing, and I like making fan fiction. The real smutty kind. That was a dog.
Woof.
So I decided that I would pursue instead a degree in English rhetoric. And you know what? My whole life changed forever.
Da, da, da.
Fast forward to, that was 2015, where I was a senior in college. For my capstone project, I decided that I wanted to talk about the concept of nerdiness. How exactly is a person nerdy? Are we so different when all those jocks that are in uniform and like to go to football games and pay thousands of dollars for a Super Bowl ticket to see Colin Kaepernick? Would that be any different from me going to an anime convention dressing up as a yellow Power Ranger? I don't think so, do you? So I did two things. I started my YouTube channel all those years ago. You can find some of them in the description box below and in the cards right after this video. And I started learning how to code. Another drink of wine. Cool. Okay, so how did I decide that coding was going to be the thing for me? Well, so when I decided that I was going to start my YouTube channel to make a point of understanding nerdiness, I had to write this whole 30-page paper on how the concept of nerdiness and viral videos is synonymous. I wrote this paper, which was great, by the way. I wanted to make sure that I posted on a website where everybody could see all of my findings and all of my work. I made a Wix account and decided, all right, what the hell? I'm just gonna try and make sure that I design this however I wanted, and started learning HTML and CSS. I really like how I'm being creative in one way, but kind of scientific in the other way. Let's see where this goes. I decided to start taking one of those online classes for coding. I looked up a couple of little boot camps. I paid maybe $200 for it, where it was, you had a class for HTML and CSS and JavaScript and jQuery, and it was for 4 months, and I started learning and growing and growing and confusing myself. So eventually I gave up. Why did I give up? Because I was tired. I had graduated, I was anxious, there was a whole bunch of other fun things that were happening, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? I just wanted a job. I was looking still at little classes. I started doing little projects just to see what I could do still. JavaScript has always been a pain in my ass, and that's why I love it so much. I decided that I was going to go to another boot camp that was local around here. So I applied, I got in, and it was free, and I was able to start learning classes with a group of people instead of just having them online and doing things by myself. Because at the time, I didn't know that learning to code with a group, or at least with an instructor that was able to be right in your face whenever you needed, was the best thing ever.
Well, JavaScript is the wild, wild west, and I think you're definitely mad for studying JavaScript.
Debatable,
first.
But that's okay. We can always talk about that. I was in this boot camp. It was really great. I was able to have a community of women teaching me, partnering with me in projects, making sure that I understood what was going on in JavaScript, making sure that we were all just leveling up together. I decided that I needed a little bit more of a challenge, and I asked my instructor, hey, where can I get more of a challenge? Because I don't care about these static websites. And she said, all right, bet, let's do something else. So she gave me more assignments. She gave me more work. I was trying to do cool things with JavaScript, like with jQuery and media queries and all that good fun stuff. So after I had decided to do all these little itty bitty projects to try and evolve myself, I quit again.
What? But Cindy, why did you quit again?
Guys, there's no script.
That's the line, right?
I promise you that there's no script. Why? Because it got harder.
But didn't you ask for it, Sydney?
Yes. What an idiot I was at the time. I was hating my job a lot. I just really wanted something new, something fresh. And so I just stopped. And maybe if I could try and potentially get into editing or something creative, into art, then maybe I would just have my mojo again. I decided to model. I decided to take a job at an art gallery as an accountant assistant for whatever reason. But I had a lot of fun with it at the time. It was great. I had all of my friends with me. They were going to art shows with me, but I still missed coding because I'm a masochist. I liked the way that I was able to solve problems and feel like I was the hottest shit in the world. And then I also loved when I was in pain about it because it was making sure that I was learning something new. After I decided to leave that job, I again decided to go get a job as an accountant assistant. I got more creative and decided that with one of my friends, I was going to be a color guard instructor, and that was really fun at the time. But you know what? I couldn't perform with them, so it didn't mean anything unless I was able to give everything that I had to the children. And you know what? That was completely draining. I will be very honest. But then the epiphany happened. So one day, I had a dispute with a particular client. That happens all the time, where you're trying to negotiate a new lease, everything's fine, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so at this point in time, I really couldn't do anything else when it came to making sure that everything was contractually agreed on. And that was the first time I've ever had a lady say to my face.
Congratulations.
I was at the point where I was at rock bottom. That was when I realized that I had needed to do something with the knowledge that I had about programming. I went online. I was looking for either more boot camps or more resources, or more just like free resources to make sure that I understood what exactly I was getting to. I looked at Free Code Camp. I decided to do lesson plans from there. I started studying more. I decided to miss practices from when I was a color guard instructor and do other things just to make sure that I was prepared to start looking for other jobs. No, I didn't find another job immediately, of course. What I decided to do was, one, go to another boot camp full-time, and two, rage quit my job.
Wow, like a good rage quit.
I felt like I was in a better position to start making better decisions about what I wanted to do with my career. My knowledge blossomed. I really loved my instructor. Shout out to Alex. I really loved being with my peers, making sure that I was able to solve problems, even though JavaScript, I still hated you. And that's okay.
That's fair. Just saying, JavaScript's like the Wild West.
Let's debate about that at another time, dude, because Java is, whew. Now that I was at a point to where I was in a boot camp, I was studying on my own, I started actually looking seriously. I started doing practice mock interviews, I started doing coding exercises, I started doing pair programming exercises with different people that I knew. Then I started teaching. I started teaching at another boot camp that I really loved. That was incredibly close to my heart, and I was able to understand a little bit better as a person and as an educator why I liked JavaScript so much and why I liked actually programming so much. Then the interviews happened, because everybody loves interviews.
They don't just grind your soul into dust. That does not happen.
No, not at all. Woo! So, the interviews. I am sure I had applied for at least 150 jobs. I only got maybe 20 interviews and 5, I'm telling you the truth, 5 in-person interviews. This shit is hard, okay? Having to apply for these jobs and making sure that you are vetted enough to make sure that you are of interest to different companies is hard, guys, I'm telling you. I decided that I wasn't getting the results that I needed on my own, so I needed a recruiter. In fact, I needed 2. I just needed a way to make sure that I was getting as many interviews as possible. So from there, I was sitting in my apartment, just making sure that I understood what was going to be happening with these interviews. All I did was study day in and day out. I tutored 3 times a week. I was able to make sure that I stayed afloat by paying just the essential bills. But all of the anxiety, all of the stress was bubbling up, just a tad. I didn't know anybody else that was aggressively looking for jobs like I was, and I just felt really isolated at the moment. That was maybe 4 or 5 months where I was just like, yep, I'm going to see what happens and go from there. That's crazy. I'd say that it was August. It was actually my birthday in August of 2018 when finally somebody had offered me a position for contract work for React.
How did you react to that offer?
I cried. So yeah, I didn't know React, but I was willing to learn it and I was willing to try my best. Okay, so next part. I will admit that I wasn't really loving the creed of what the organization stood for. I wasn't loving what I would potentially be doing there. So I decided to reject the offer. I knew that I could do more with another company that would help me actually learn. I just wanted more from what I was being offered. And cheers to me, because I got more. So, how am I in the position that I am today? Well, let me tell you. In late August, early September, where both of my recruiters said, hey, we have jobs that we think that you would love to take. So I was like, okay, bet, let's see what's going on here. So one of them was with another major company, which is great. And then there was another corporation that I was able to interview with my other recruiter, which was great, which was awesome. I decided to start studying for both. One position was for a quality assurance engineer, where I would be doing a lot of testing, a lot of test cases when it came to automation in C#. The other position was for a React engineer, where I would be learning React on the job, which was great. And I needed to make sure that I understood what the guidelines were when it came to learning more JavaScript, as well as learning the more basic functions of how React worked. Both interviews happened on the same day. I had a total of 3 interviews that day. The first interview at 10. So I had that interview. That took 2 hours. 2. I had 7 different managers that had interviewed me. I thought that I was going to be meeting with the director of IT. Do you know how stressful that is? To have 7 people interview you at the same time?
I'm imagining like a round table and like you're at one end of the table and they're like all, well, more like a rectangular table. And let's restart.
That was exactly how that was. All they did was burn me with questions that I was sure that I didn't know the answer to, but I answered them as best as I could at the moment in time. And then I made sure that I showed them my project, and I was able to make sure that during the interview, majority of the time, they're asking you questions to make sure that they're understanding your personality. I feel like I fit in well, or at least I hope that I do. By the time that the interview was over, I was upset. I waltzed back down to my car and then I sat there and cried because I totally thought that I didn't score the interview. I thought that, man, like they were asking me so many questions that I wasn't sure that they even liked me. Why was I there for 2 hours if they didn't like me? Oh my God, I'm a terrible programmer. The next interview that I had was at another pretty big corporation. So I took an hour, I made sure that I got there, maybe just rested for a couple of minutes, made sure that I ate, refreshed, went over my notes before the next interview, and then I decided to go in. The next thing, I was in the interview in the midst of it. They asked me a couple of React questions on the whiteboard, and you know what? I didn't know the answers, and that's okay. Turns out I didn't get that position, but that's okay, because as soon as I got out of that interview, you know who called? The first person that I was interviewing with that day. They told me that not only did this particular department love me, but they wanted me to be a quality assurance engineer that same day. I heard the specific pay that I was getting, and you know what? It was 3 times what I was getting at the time. What?
3 times, times 3.
Yes, that was fantastic. I wasn't expecting such a big pay raise, first off, but also I wasn't expecting that they even liked me. I was in there for 2 hours with 7 managers. I have never heard of that type of interview before. I had to think about it, to be honest. I was scared. I was scared that not only would that change my life completely, I would have to work my ass off for just the hardest that I've ever had to in my life. And I was right, I did. Everything was changing at that point. Now that we're in better lighting, I took a day, I talked to my mentors about it, and they were like, well, let's be honest here, none of the other places that you were interviewing for was going to make sure that they were able to have the resources and assets to make sure that you're understanding what's going on with their code base. So why don't you try this one and see what happens? And I was like, okay, let's do this. So the next day I accepted this offer. I was officially a QA engineer and I was in tech. Finally! I had accepted my first position and I was able to start in October of 2018. You're always supposed to go with your gut when it comes to what you feel like feels good. And I finally started to listen to it after the 3rd time. So anybody out there that's trying to figure out whether or not they want to code or want to do anything with a programming language, understand that there's a lot to learn. Understand that you need to have an organized plan. Knowing that there is still a lot to learn is also a blessing and a curse. Be okay with asking for help, because that is the best thing that you can do as a programmer, as a person. There's so many free resources that will help you understand what is going on and can get you to point A to point B to point C and to eventually a job that pays you to just learn whatever you want. And I hope that with this video, I am able to at least inspire and encourage people to know that you're not alone. I am still trying to figure out my way when it comes to all of this programming. I'm only 16 months into this and I'm still trying to figure it out. If I can at least have one person understand, then I've done my job. I hope to see you guys next time in the next video. And thank you. Thank you so much for hearing what I have to say. My name is Sydney, and I'll see you next time.